Couple of ones that are at the top of my mind. So the AJ situation, heavyweight scene. Should he fight Dylan? Should he go for Wilder or hold out for Wilder? Should he fight Fury? What are your thoughts?
The first thing I want to say with regards to Anthony Joshua, that the likes of myself and the Bunny Sterlings and the Bunny Johnsons and the John Contis, all those people have worked their cods off to break down barriers in this sport. I'd like to see Anthony Joshua, in his role as a promoter, promote, some of these kids from the regions and everything. There's massive money. Anthony could lose tomorrow. I don't think he will. He could lose tomorrow. We need to see some payback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he hasn't worked his cods off, because he has. He's a good kid. He's typical African. Love mum, love dad, love family, keep my mates close to me and everything else. But it's an industry. It's an industry. And I look here and I look at the Joe Joyces of this world. I look at this incredible performance, with Dillian White and Derek Chisora. Just unbelievable commitment. Now, there's got to come a time, I think, when you deal with reality. Will Anthony Joshua beat Deontay Wilder? I don't know.
An opinion?
Well, if Deontay Wilder could deal without being concussed, Tyson Fury's jab, he's got an excellent opportunity of doing it. So it's that bit different. I need to see Anthony Joshua step up another level. Who does he sitting on tenterhooks every time we go in there, and punches are missing him by an nth of a centimetre, and you're thinking, you didn't rehearse that one. That wasn't rehearsed. It's about. I always believed that Anthony become world champion 2 years too soon. He was always going to be great. He was always going to get where he's going to get, but there's too much pressure on him. In my humble opinion.
Do you not think that coincides with the opportunities that just come his way? So he's taken them. He's jumped in the deep end.
Listen, absolutely. But if someone offered me $83 million to fight my brother,
Charles Martin, you take it.
No, but now this Deontay Wilder with a return, I think I would have taken it. So he knows better than I do. Make no mistake about it, because he made the choices. But the opposition are getting sharper. They're getting taller. They're becoming more astute. Contractual negotiation is becoming ever more difficult. And keeping all these titles. The number one immutable law of marketing, and that's what this is, a brand, is to be first in the mind. First to such a degree that manifest impregnation of the subconscious, and it resonates easily. That's when you come out and return past creative. People don't wait for you to send their messages. They come to you in inquiry and demand. And that, to my mind, perfectly sums up the situation that we've got now with regards to Anthony Joshua and his exalted position. Right now, Anthony Joshua fights Tyson Fury 50-50. Anthony Joshua fights Deontay Wilder. It might be 55-45 in favour of Wilder. 2 years from now, Anthony Joshua beats all of them. But I just get this feeling that time is pushing him in the back, going quicker, faster. That's it. And I've got to say this as well, so we're on it. I'd like to see somebody, with Anthony, I cast my mind back and I look at Frank Bruno, and Frank was very robotic. Anthony is a lot more supple, a lot more lithe than Frank was, and that's
better athlete than Frank. Yeah.
But on here, there needs to be some influence. There needs to be some change. I need to see some dancing men in that corner, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And Anthony, if you watch this, you know what I'm talking about as well. We need to see some balletic people. Man ain't breakdancing no more. That ain't in it. And there's a certain kind of man that has movements. And he pays the bill so he can go and find them. And you need to. That's...
No, I agree. I take your point. I understand what you say. He's doing all right, so I can. It's almost that. Why do you change your winning formula, sort of?
The reason you change a winning formula is because you've done your research, and now it's all about implementation. You can't keep. Listen, what is your normal mode? Somebody else who wants to out-achieve you is taking that on board. Like Eubank said here at the opening, I know the way you fight. I know the way you fight. Well, I can promise you one thing, Chris, you don't know the way he fights because God gave him ability to fight. What you've got to do is bring him back to your level. Or if that's the case, raise him to your level. But you don't know the way that he fights. Because even he doesn't know the way that he fights.
Dylan White. See, what does he push for? In your opinion? It's all opinions.
Do you know a very funny story? Spencer Fearon phoned me up 9 years ago. I phoned him up and said, look, there's a kid from South Africa. People are getting on my case. Could we bring him over? They'll pay all his expenses and da-da-da. Just give, we want you to manage him. So I phoned Spencer. Spence, we bring the kid over. He comes down to that gym that Spencer had near Liverpool Street. There's a few of us in there. The kid turns up. So for me, it's a litmus test. You say you can box, great. Go and have a shower, get changed. And now let's see what you can do. So I said to Spencer, get someone. So anyway, he said that, no, I've got a kid. Anyway, this kid turns up, got plimsolls on and tight jeans and everything else. They get in the ring. They do what happened in the Chisora, and you can't believe it. So I figure, well, this is only an amateur. So I said to the guy, look, well, with the greatest respect, you couldn't move this guy. There ain't no room for you where you need to come here. You're not a Commonwealth fighter. There's nothing we can do. Anyway, the guy who had the plimsolls on was Dylan White. Well, Spencer and I often laugh about this with Dylan White. So now we're going into the fight. Who do I think's going to win? So I thought it was even. Spencer said, no, there's no way Chisora wins. No way whatsoever. But I'd witnessed the change in Chisora. His recommitment to Christianity, his recommitment to God, and the abstinence from, harmful things, alcohol and women, yeah. And I watched Dylan work marvellously behind a jab. He had a little bit of Ezard Charles in him, just that he's much, much bigger. No, it was wonderful. He was parrying, catching shots, pushing them to one side, and then to complete things with that shot. He threw that shot with his eyes open, looking at it, bang, he's going to step in. Whereas from Derek's point of view, Derek spent that entire training camp looking never to stand square in front of him. But look, you asked me about Dylan. Dylan is going to go on, and could he beat Anthony Joshua? I'm not sure. They're going to have a good fight. He's a different fighter altogether. Who's improved more significantly? I think Dylan has. But remember, Dylan got knocked spark out in that first fight. He made so many mistakes, it's unbelievable. But if he can control and work, a bit like Lewis Hamilton, and working with the pits. If you're taking things on board, you've got more opportunities. Look for this, look for that. And you've got to remember, in that corner, it's a Tibbs corner. So they're very methodical, very pedantic. And if they go out and set their store on working to a plan, in other words, who knows what can happen. But because, and my wife will kill me for this, because I like eba and fufu, because I like groundnut soup, that sways me against rice and peas.
All right, say no. We're going to leave it right there, mate. I'm upset with you as well. Right, last question, quickly. Does Khan fight Brook? Was he out of order for the comments And how does that fight go if it happens this year?
Brook beats Khan. He was bang out of order, because Amir has to understand now that he is no longer a young man to fight. He is a peer. People look up to him. There's a huge responsibility. And no more so, if you go into gyms up and down the country, the amount of, let me use the all-encapsulating term, the amount of Asian fighters that are in gyms because of him, you can't be making those statements. You cannot be doing it.
Irresponsible.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Ambrose, top of the year. Been good speaking to you. We'll catch up throughout the year, no doubt.